Today, we're going to be talking about the law of design. My name is Patrenia Werts, Onuoha, so happy to be sharing with you today. I am the Chief Principal Coach for Patrenia Speaks and Resilience Life Resources Limited. And I am a diamond coach on the Living the Diamond Life Mentoring Mastermind Series. So glad to be with you. When we look at our growth and when we set an objective to grow, it is imperative that we set up strategies, processes to succeed. So simply, if you want to maximize growth, you need to establish a system. So simply, the law of design is all about identifying what systems you need in your life to propel you predictably toward your goals, your objectives, your results. It's very, very simple. Sometimes in life, you make things more complicated than they have to be. And often in the complexity, we lose sight, we lose clarity. So this whole law is meant to simplify. And using Patrenia's systems, I've always said if you standardize, you can multiply. You can multiply, that means you can scale. And if you can scale, that means that you can grow unlimited, exponentially, and have the impact that you want to have. How many of you really want to have an impact in this world? You really want to make a difference? Then you've got to master setting up strategies. Now, what's a strategy? A strategy simply is this. It's beginning with the end in mind. Where am I trying to go? If you're in a maze and you're trying to get, if you're here, you're trying to get here, you've got to be clear on that here so that you can then backtrack and say, so what do I need to do before? What do I need to do before? What do I need to do before? Oh, and then I'm back at my origin. So if you apply that mindset when you're developing and designing your strategies and your systems, and you can be more successful. All right, so how does this work? A system is a process, so it's a set of things. It's predictable, and it leads you toward your goals. So an example would be some people use morning rituals, morning routines, and it's proven to be very, very important in reaching goals, because guess what? Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. So the gurus, neuroscience tells us that in our brain, if we do something the same way, repeatable every time, it'll become automatic, it'll become subconscious, and then that means that we'll do it very efficiently, right? Because we know it very well. I think about learning to play the clarinet. I played my horn and just love the music, but I tell you, if I would not have established a system for practice, knowing my scales, you can wake me at any time in the middle of the night and I can do my scales because it became automatic, because I had a system of how I practice, how I prepared for a new piece was very systematic, okay? So what do we need and why is it crucial? It's crucial because if you must use your creativity every time that you want to start something new or achieve a goal, and you must reinvent it every time, it's not so efficient. It's not using your time very well. Let's say, for example, how many of you have found a wonderful, you finished reading a book and you found 2 or 3 weeks later, it was a quote. It was like, this quote was perfect. It was perfect. I want to use it in my presentation. And then you spend 30 minutes trying to find the quote. Well, if your objective is to be a good speaker, and if your objective is to use quotes that really help to improve your delivery, then you'll develop a system for how you capture. So when you're reading, you have a system, that maybe you record your quote somewhere so that you retrieve it. Because the biggest time waster is not being able to find things, okay? So if you know that, that's why organization is such a key element. So let me not get ahead of myself. There's some key points I want to hit. Systems and strategies are crucial because they help ordinary people. They help Ordinary, let's say ordinary, you and I, ordinary people to achieve extraordinary results predictably, repeatably, and measurably. That means that deliberate focus on studying a pattern and developing a system to reach your goal. Let's say, for example, did you know that there's no correlation between the amount of time you're in a profession and your proficiency? Have you ever seen someone who said that they have 20 years of experience, but really when you analyze the depth, they really just have 20 years of 1 year of experience? It's repeated. They didn't go any deeper. They didn't get any better. So it's not about how long you're in something that determines how good you are. It's how deliberate you are in digging deep and really bringing results. So a system, it must have five key elements. Number one, it must look at the big picture. It must be very clear to say, if I want to improve my health outcomes, then these are the 5 areas I need to focus on, bring my BP, my BMI, all of these things. And then you have an action that you do. Maybe it's every day that you do this action, okay? So it's a design, it's something that becomes automatic. It needs to also align with your priorities. So if something is very important for you, must align with your priorities, sorry. So identifying perhaps your best part of the day, that's when you would work on those focus areas. So for me, middle of the night really is best. It just hasn't always worked well with the people I live with. I really, really thrive from like 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. I'm on. So if there's something I really need to focus on, then that's when I get my work done. All right, see if we can edit that out. All right, so starting here, priority is the second key area that you must have in any system. The third one is the ability to measure it. It's just like if I'm choosing health just as an example, but we can go anywhere. If this wealth is one of your growth areas, then you need to have a way that you can measure your progress, that you can understand how well you're doing. So you get that feedback loop. And it must be something that's quantitative, not just qualitative. The next one then is, if that measurement gives you feedback, we often call that a reflection, right? Because when you measure and get the feedback, then it's an opportunity for reflection and gaining of insight so that you can continuously improve your system. If you're not getting closer to where you want to go, then that's your opportunity to gain the insight to move forward. And application, I love the one around application, because recency and frequency are so key in our success. And let me break that down for you. How long ago was I exposed to something? And how frequently am I applying it and using it and making it part of who I am? That has a very high correlation with my success in that particular area. So in application, I always challenge myself when I learn something and I think, oh, that's neat, I think that's valuable, who can I teach this to? Have you ever noticed that when you send people off to training or you go to training yourself, you pay a lot more attention when you know that you're expected to go teach someone else? So think about that one. But the 3 questions really would be, how can I use this? When will I use it? And who else can use this? So those are ways to ensure, because knowledge will not apply itself. Once you grasp it, that's just the first step. Now, what are you going to do? Next one is around consistency, because consistency is the secret sauce to success. We must do it repeatedly. That's how we get results. I think about the bamboo tree. That requires that you water it, the seed with no result for 5 years before you see anything bust through the ground. So that type of consistency, even without results, building the habit, building the muscle. That's how we make differences and results come in our lives. We need to have cues, rewards, feedback loops. All of those are key elements, but we must do it like clockwork, drumbeat, consistency. So organization is that final one. I mentioned it before, but an organized way to get things, knowing how you're going to find things. I always say there's no purpose in storing that you can't retrieve. So if you're going to put something away, be able to pull it back. Now, how does this all apply when we're looking at our developing growth plans? Now that we've identified areas that we want to grow in, whether it's a skill area, whether it's a choice area, it's a behavior, or if it's a technical skill, whatever it is, we must come up with a schedule, a plan, a strategy. And in that schedule, plan, strategy, you must follow and apply this criteria. This is very, very, very important that every good system needs the SSRT criteria test. It must be one, very simple. Simple in that, if it's more than 5 steps, it's unlikely you remember it, let alone do it. So anything that you put into place for yourself, ensure that it's simple to do. Like when you roll out of bed, it's sitting right there, you can see it, right? Make it very simple. The next one is that it's scalable. And if I do a little bit, if I do 10 minutes today, can I do 20 minutes in a month? Can I do 30 minutes the next month? So it's scalable, right? The next one would be that it's reproducible. I don't have to reinvent it every time. The fourth one then is that it's teachable, because again, that transference and being able to create impact and scale is truly, truly an area for us. I just want to share one principle with us here, that in the law of design, it is very important that it follows simple, reproducible, scalable, teachable. And that in order to begin developing or refining those systems, which lead to our growth, you must always have an awareness of the picture, the priorities, measurement, application, organization, and consistency. If we follow the big 5 and always apply the criteria of SSRT, we cannot lose on our journey to maximizing our growth. I thank you very much for your time today. I know of wonderful stories about how you have applied